Right. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Bring It On podcast. I'm your host, as always, Alessandro, aka Heartly, and today I have a very special guest with me today. In the studio, we're joined by someone very special to us, and I'm hoping by the end of the episode, you guys will understand why. She is a published author, a spoken word artist, a TV presenter, a radio presenter, and the resume is long. So if I missed something, Avril will forgive me. Please. I'll ask Uncle Mas to add like a clap effect because I feel like we need to applaud you for your presence and everything that you've done. Like, yeah.
I'm now drowning in the applause.
No, I think it's good. I think you deserve it. Welcome to the studio,
so
Avril.
much.
Loveletter. Wait, which one do you prefer? Avril, Loveletter?
Let's go with Loveletter.
Loveletter. Okay. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here today.
Yeah. First things first, congratulations on your book.
Thank you so much.
Amazing work. I don't know, how are you feeling about that whole experience?
That whole experience.
Yeah.
Okay, honestly, I really don't know how to feel about it because, it started as a thought. I remember telling people at home that I want to write a book. So, me just being adventurous, Avril or adventurous Loveletter, they're like, it's one of those.
Understandable.
It's one of those. And then I started, with 1 or 2 pages, typing Manero and stuff like that. So the whole process has been challenging. I think it's high time now I say the truth because when you're just posting, there's a book launch. Book launch.
Yeah.
It's as if it's so automatic, but it has really been challenging from the point of writing it, the point of getting it edited, being frustrated.
Understandable.
The comments, because it's more like your book is being marked, like this part does not make sense. You need to change this. This is contradictory. And to the point of, getting the book printed, organizing the book launch. But then I'm so grateful that, on the day everything went well. And
It was
launched.
It was a great book launch. I'm just gonna say it was an amazing experience. I loved it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I was there. I was glad I didn't miss it. And right now that you say it, because earlier we were talking about how I quote unquote promised people a book, which I didn't, by the way.
We are waiting for it.
Right now I'm thinking, do I have the energy to be edited and marked and told this doesn't make sense? I'm thinking to myself,
you do. You know what it does to you, it molds you. It's more of like when you go to school, right? There's certain things you've learned in grade 1. Now maybe when you're now with the grade 3 teacher, there's certain things that you're now learning. So it's more of like you're now being molded. You're now being groomed, and then you can now get to see. Sometimes you're writing a book, but then you don't actually have the right vision.
Okay. Wow.
I'm gonna be honest. And then now it's like, now it's clear. Because sometimes we tend to think that everything that comes to us has to be put in one place. I'm sure you're familiar with it with poems.
Yeah.
When you're writing one poem, and then when you go to the next stanza, you're like, no, this doesn't align with this poem. This is now another poem. So I need to leave this and then continue with it. So now you can get to see the direction where, you're actually navigating and all.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Yeah. I think the only reason why I would probably do it now is you sound so much wiser since you wrote your book. You're always wise, but now you sound wiser. So now I'm thinking if I write a book, I'll probably sound wiser as well. Yeah.
You will.
I think it comes with some kind of wisdom.
Yeah, it does.
Curious, obviously. I'm really, really curious. This idea of the book is called Woman's Worth, and just maybe the idea of worth, and I don't know. Can you maybe unpack how that came to be? Why that specifically?
I think before the interview, I told you if you ask this question, I might cry.
Uncle Maz as we have tissues on standby. Yeah.
All right. So this book actually is it's based on a true story, though I got to put, fictional characters, and then though I changed, some of the events, right?
Yeah.
But then in some chapters, I don't really get to mention myself, but then I can relate with the chapters in the sense that, I didn't really know my worth. So growing up, being a public speaker, you think you know your worth, right? Your worth is only when you're on stage and you're performing and but then when you get into the real world, you don't really know who you are. Like, you let people treat you a certain way. You don't put yourself out there the way you're supposed to be putting yourself. And then mainly another thing, this book was an inspiration from my grandfather. So he would always teach me, about self-worth, about, loving yourself first, and being a girl child, how you're supposed to be protecting yourself, how you're supposed to be walking with your head all time. So at that time when he was telling us, all those things, I didn't understand it. And I always knew whenever Alicia Keys' song Woman's Worth would play, I would make sure that I disappear because the lecture would start.
The lectures would follow soon after.
Would follow suit. So
Okay.
before he died, he started, speaking about that. I was going through something in life, and then, he started hammering on it. It was like a month before he died. You need to value yourself. You don't see your self-worth. You don't know who you are. You need to revisit, what does the Bible say, about your value. You're God's child. You know. And at that point, it still didn't make sense. But then when he passed on, so before he passed on, he was like, at my funeral, I don't want people to just be crying, we are as Africans. We'll be crying dramatically.
Yeah.
I want people to remember the words I told them when I was alive. And then that's when, it stuck to me. I was like,
Wow.
Okay. And then when he passed on, I think it was like the second, because the first day I was crying, The second day, I then started remembering all the things he used to tell me when I was in primary. And then those words, kept on coming, even, after the funeral, after the Nyaradzo, and I was like, what, I think it's high time I get to do something with this information, because if I've felt like this, I'm sure there's someone else as well who has felt like me. So I don't want these words to just be glued to me and to the family members, but I would want to share it with the world. And you always spoke about writing a book. You as a person with a lot of wisdom would be like, I could write so many books with the things that I know. So it's like, okay, let me honor this wish.
That is beautiful. That's a beautiful story. Now I need to find. You see, now the problem is I need to find an equally good story if I'm going to write a book now. I need to find an equally moving story. But that's amazing. Wow. I want to be remembered for the things that I told people. The words that I said. Whew.
Yeah, that's deep.
Now I need to be super careful about what I say now.
You see,
because if people now, because if people remember now, people remember.
That's so true.
That is amazing. I think it's very important. I think obviously, given the age that we're living in now, where people are constantly comparing each other with the next person, with the versions of themselves that they wish to be. Just like random comments coming in and about. It's very important that there is like a very distinct voice that explains. Listen. There is worth in you, and not just like regular worth, like you said. Obviously, what does the Bible say about that?
True.
And it's an amazing experience. It's wow. Yeah. Okay. Now I need my courtesy copy of the wisdom so that I dive deep into it.
Do you still need the free copy? Because
okay. I'll fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's worth paying for.
But you can get a family discount, because right now I'm actually selling the book at a discount since we are in the like mental health season.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's beautiful. That's amazing. I still think people shouldn't be given discounts randomly, but okay, fine. They heard it for themselves. They're probably gonna get the book on discount, and now wait for it to go back to full price so that I can pay full price.
Okay.
Because I think it's worth every penny.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of you.
And then obviously, as an artist, I have been there for part of your journey. I've seen some of the things that you've done as a spoken word artist, especially, and as a public speaker, from towards the end of your high school bit into like the rest of it. How has that probably like played a part in not just the book, but the person that you've ultimately become? You know, obviously valuing like mental health, so forth, and always knowing the right words to say, obviously, to me when I'm not feeling like up to speed and the sort. Yeah.
That's a huge question.
It's not. It's like a small.
Where do I start? So I think I was saying this earlier. I've known you since you were like super young.
Okay. So young is fine. I thought you were gonna do.
I don't want to embarrass you on camera. So I've known you since you were young.
Yeah.
And this is a compliment. And this is also the value addition that you put in my life, but then you didn't know. Maybe I never told you. Don't cry.
Okay. I'm going to try not to cry.
So you have been, that person who was confident, irregardless of the spaces that you were put in. Because I remember I was saying, Guti, from the junior debate, you were moved to like the pre-seniors, like the Form 3s, Form 4s, and then you were moved to the A-levels, and we were scared of you. Like, you were so little, but we were scared of you. But then what it did to me, it got me thinking, if this person is this young and is not looking at what people are thinking, then why does it still bother me what people think? Even when I am in the space where my age mates are. So you inspired me to be bold and confident.
I'm gonna cry.
Okay, so I'm gonna be using laughter as the
as the
defensive
buffer.
mechanism,
Yes, please
so
do,
that I don't
because
cry.
if you don't laugh, I will cry.
I know. So you actually inspired me, and then moving on to bring it on. I remember you asked Kuti how it really molded me and made me go into mental health. When we met at Bring It On, I was already studying like the mental health activism thingy.
Yeah.
And then I remember when you were like, Afro, will we be able to do this? You still remember you asked me this question.
Yeah. 2024.
Like 2024, yeah. And then you were like, Afro, I feel like Tapera. And then I had to be like, no, like at Nakpera. Because I still remember that young Alessandro, that kind of a thing that refused to not be known, refused to not be recognized. And then I think I still carried that with me.
Wow.
And then, so I feel like the journey, at each and every single segment, it's really shaped me into who I am. For example, the issue with mental health, the journey had a lot of resilience. The journey now was no longer focused on me just putting myself out there, me being known, but also me advocating for other people, putting other people out there. So the journey had to start with me, with fixing me, how I got to see myself and all. And as I had mentioned, I only saw myself on stage. I was confident and real on stage, but then off stage, I think off stage, I would be someone else, shy, like, I don't know, killing myself in corners so that people don't get to recognize me. But then the journey now had to be like, no, you have to feel like valuable on stage and off stage, because how can you advocate for other people, right? How can you tell other people to feel worthy, to be confident and all, but then when you're off stage, you're not confident? Wow. So that is how the journey was. I don't know if it made sense.
It does. It does actually. It does. Yeah. I think that's also like a small like side note to say that I think half the time when you're speaking, there's probably that little, I don't know if I'm making sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
And to the next person, it's literally like crystal clear. You're like, oh, wow. okay. This is what she means. Okay. So don't worry. Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. Sure. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for telling people that it used to be so small. At least you didn't mention the small places this time.
I can still mention it.
Okay. No. Time out. I think somehow I remember that conversation that I think tapera conversation.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I think it was easier. I think it was easier.
How?
It felt easier because I was young and small. So
Yeah.
even if I did like ordinary,
And then
regular
you have
things,
like less negative experiences.
yeah. So because I was small, when people saw me, they were like, this one is small. Even if I was doing like regular average things, I think people were like, and they kind of blew it out of proportion because I was young and in those kinds of spaces. The older I got, the more I feel like maybe people were overhyping me. Maybe I'm and that sort of thing. And there was a gap where I wasn't performing a lot and I wasn't speaking a lot. Saka that gap manje ndiwe wachongo sipo kuti ndiudze kuti ndinogona. Saka manje zvasitsaite saka nanzitsafile. So that was the gap. But it was a beautiful experience. Obviously, the Bring It On, I think it was a good revival point.
And then look who won Bring It On 2025. Like I can't stop saying that. This is how I introduce you to people.
I should come to your show.
Sure. Like I'm working on that. I'm working. I'm sorry. I know. I promised you. I'm working on it.
I would love to hear how you introduce me. That would be
wow.
vibes. Yeah. Speaking of, you mentioned something really, really important. Something about on stage and off stage, and obviously maybe just to probably like venture into that idea a little bit more. There is the concept of always like, you know how we're like creating, like you're writing poetry or you're on TV or you're recording a piece and that sort of thing. How do you then probably from like a personal point of view, how do you then remember that you're still Avril even on the days that you're not doing something that people are clapping, hands
Alessandro,
for?
where is this question coming from? Okay, guys, we did a pre-interview. This question was not there.
But I like surprises.
Okay. So it has been hard for me, to accept this Avril that is not performing. Because I feel like somehow as a mental health activist, there is some performance. Because I do have a group which is called Mental Health Matters. So I think I'll base it on that. So in this group, when I started, I used to do shows each and every single week, every Friday.
Okay.
No matter how I felt, whether I felt like it or not, I would be doing shows and all right. And then you'd be having a lot of people joining the group. It makes you feel some type of way. But then along the way, I started losing myself, or I started falling behind in my own personal life.
Okay.
Because I was just focused on being Avril, the mental health activist. Forgot Avril, the sister, Avril, the daughter, Avril, the granddaughter, and all. And then that's when I had to step back, because imagine being a mental health activist and then now you're also falling into depression.
Yeah, the irony.
The same depression.
The irony.
The same depression that you're like, no, you know what? Don't have to be depressed. Talk to someone and all. Then I had to look around. I was like, oh my gosh, who am I going to talk to? You understand?
Yeah. And
And then, yes, I was still performing poetry and all. And the same even when I had to go on TV and do, like, I love being, the performative love letter. And then at times, being the Avril.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to love Avril without the other things.
Okay.
So if you were at the book launch, I'm sure you saw Audrey Chirenje.
Yes.
Right. She spoke something that stuck with me, that made me realize the book launch in a different view. Whereby she said that when people ask who I am, so she is an 11-time award-winning author. She's writing a 12th book right now. Yeah. But then when she introduces herself, she's like, hi, I'm Audrey Chirenje. I'm a mother of 2.
Wow.
And then now some of us with just one book will be like, I'm an author, I'm a presenter. That kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's more of like we feel so uncomfortable with ourselves without the titles.
We need to write that down. We need to. Wow.
Yeah, like,
Okay.
can you just be an ordinary, like, can you just be ordinary Alessandro and just have a conversation with someone? Right. So that's so I'm really trying to love myself even when I'm home, even when I'm just a real, even when no one knows who I am, even when I'm not at work and all. But then it really took like a lot of time for me to realize, Kuti, there's a certain part of me that I'm neglecting because I'm just in this performance space. So I wouldn't say could I have figured it out, but I'm still trying to merge the two together.
Wow.
It's more of like, let's say Loveletter is the me with the makeup, and then Afro is me in my natural state. So I'm still trying to love myself, naturally. There are certain things that people also don't get to mention. Like being a mental health activist, you can get depressed, you can get anxiety. But then it's only a few people. I've realized that there are some mental health activists who get to speak about it. You know what, about 2 weeks ago I was depressed, about 3 weeks ago I was depressed. Because at the end of the day, we forget we are also human.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that's
are.
it.
Wow. What was it you said? We are so uncomfortable with ourselves without the titles.
Yes.
Whew.
Was it that
Okay.
deep?
Okay. Okay, no, you don't understand.
I think I was just...
No, because the problem is,
just saying,
I can feel it. I can feel it.
You can relate.
When I'm not Heartly and I'm not,
You're
doing
not Alessandro
podcasts,
doing IT.
It's...
Who are you?
Whew. That's mind blowing. That's mind blowing, and I think it's very crucial that you mentioned it, especially in kind of like the space that we're living in now. I think it's very, very crucial. Like you, when you put the phone down and you're not active on social media with your 1,000 likes and your 1,000, like 10,000 views, whatever, or you when you're not filling up like what do we call, like reps theater, and people are snapping for you and performing. Or when you're not on TV and that sort of thing, like, can you realize your worth outside of that?
Yes.
Would you say your faith has played like a critical part in that?
Yes, it has. It really has. Because in the book, one thing I really tried to move away from was just focusing on the worldly aspect, right, of worth and all. And then I was really trying to like navigate it or match it with God's word, because he also speaks about our worth when he's saying we are fearfully and wonderfully created. So, before you even become Alessandro, the spoken word artist, you're fearfully and wonderfully created. You don't need to be proving yourself to people that, I'm this, you are already worthy.
Wow.
So your worth has nothing to do. I think it's one thing I really mentioned, that your worth has nothing to do with your title. Even if you are just waking up and you're just at home and then you don't even feel like it at all, you are still worthy.
Wow.
Yeah, because the moment that God created, because God says that he knew you before you were like even born, right? So when he created you, he already made you worthy, because he calls us royal priesthoods. It's just the same as, like, let's look at the Queen Elizabeth lineage. You understand? Kachitongorika baby, kasati katombodzidziswa atori a princess, you understand, or like someone atongori a prince, atongozvarwa uri worthy. But we feel that we need to be having all these other things to be worthy or to be valued. You don't need to be valued. You already have the value and it is that you need to put in the world. So it's now up to you with the journey that you're walking, because we have a lot of tinema pressures. Oh boy, I once had this pressure. This author wrote a book at the age of 7, and I was like
7.
Yes.
7.
Yes, Angarepa Little Big Short. At the age of 7.
Is that the one with Steve Harvey?
Yes. And she was using big words like illustrations, huh?
At 7.
And so we have this pressure, and you are already with you just have to trust in God and then allow him to kuti pakati iwe Alessandro, you're going to be having this that's when you're supposed to be having that, because there's a certain reason why you're supposed to be doing this at this age. You're not supposed to compare, because the thing with comparison is the thief of joy. You understand?
Yeah.
So the moment you start comparing yourself with someone who has made it at a very, very, very young age, you start not seeing your worth. But there's also something great that you're doing at that age, even if maybe usati wanyatsopinda poetry. But then uchazonyatopinda poetry like at the right time. So we have different timelines that Zoana our purposes. But then our value is not only linked to our gifts, it's also linked to maybe the things that we also do each and every single day, because each and everything let's say you meet a lady arutaza cross a road and then ombatsira cross a road, that's valuable. It doesn't have to wait for you to be on stage to provide that value. Let's say kukaitika lockdown or whatever, you can't perform or the internet is shut down, and if you help someone maybe kumba struggler with fixing something and then you help them, that is value, because you're already born with value. Wow. So now this is now my gifts at now another value that we are providing.
Wow. I think it's that's like so well put. I think it's so important for people to be able to understand their value before they start they go out there and then they start showing it to the rest of the world. Particularly with the whole I have a new fear now officially. Like, what if lockdown comes back and I can't perform? That's a new fear now. But it's so well put, because I know obviously, especially with the whole that question that I think that Tozo's going, I think Tapera, came from that whole phase of not being able to perform and not being able to go out there or see what was going on with the rest of the art world. So obviously it might make you question your worth and your value if it's not grounded in you knowing that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You're valuable even before you go on stage or even before you write a book and all those things. I think that's so important for people to know and for people to be constantly reminded and the sort. It's a psalm, right? The fearfully and wonderfully made one.
Yes.
Beautiful. We're gonna keep it right. Yeah.
Okay. I think
we're gonna keep it right there.
Psalm 138, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. That's beautiful. Fearfully and wonderfully made. Yeah. Even when you're not on stage.
Yes.
Even when you're not writing a book. Even when you're not performing.
Yes.
You're still valuable. That's amazing. That's beautiful. What then do you do when people look at your art and they're like, no, this is not it. This, I'm preparing myself for when I write the book. And then someone says, this part doesn't make sense. How do I manage to remain confident? For context, you see this Band-Aid. Yesterday I was playing football. I fell face first in the ground. No, don't be. It was an exciting time. I fell.
You don't regret.
I was a defender. I was a defender, and there was a guy very, very good who was playing, who I was supposed to be marking. He was showing me flames. Anytime that I tried to mark him, he was running away. And then I fell. Standing up was a struggle because now I was like, what do I do now? It felt like in that moment, it was like, probably just like simply put, my value as a defender on this field is questionable right now. So I'm just trying to see how then do you pick yourself up, dust yourself and then get back in the game, knowing that you still have a job to do. You're still supposed to, finish the job.
Okay. I'm thinking of two ways to answer this, Kuti. I think one thing I'm really trying to run away from these days is to give the polished answer. To
Okay.
be like,
Okay.
to be more resilient, like, but then we have to really be truthful. So I've encountered many times where people have told me, this is the way you're supposed to be doing your art. So I'm always that person who is creative. Like, I want to write in different styles. I want to try different things. And then you have people who are like, no, I think you are like this and this and this and this and that. And sometimes it's so unkind, right? The way people say it.
Yeah.
So in regards to the book, there's someone who was like, okay, why did you put the title Woman's Worth? So you're only focusing on women. I was like, no, reread the title. There is like a slash. Woman and Men's Worth.
Yeah.
But then me being a woman, I'm not sure if I did, I'm going to be honest, if I did much justice trying to like be able to relate to men. Okay. I just wrote like what I know, what I've seen other men experience, what they've told me, right? There's a part of the book whereby I write like letters to different men who have faced different things, right? Yes. So, how to navigate? I think the most important thing is to ask yourself, Kuti, when someone says this, right, Kuti, Alessandro, you should be doing this way. Ask yourself, who is Alessandro, right? When I wrote this, what intention did I have, right? Then how many people are saying this? Yes, I understand there is constructive criticism, but there's also constructive criticism which can be destructive. Like this person is also thinking, no, I'm helping Alessandro. Alessandro but then you have to look at what is the intention of the person. Is the intention of the person the same intention with what you have? Because we have people, I remember in poetry, there was a time I lost myself. I think you know. There was a time I only wanted to win, right? And then I started doing this poetry whereby you mix with the ghetto language. Yeah. I think you even told me, that was different.
That was different. Yeah, I think I remember the phase. It was different. I didn't think it was bad. I just thought it was different for the record.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm not saying you said it was bad. But then when I left the stage, I felt that wasn't a thrill. That was not me. And right now I'm really trying to embrace that. I think I'm more of like a soft poet. But then how people perceive it, because I've heard people come to my DMs. I think the person is going to see this, but I'm just going to say, because it does hurt me. You know, this person repeatedly like comes to my DM and says, Kuti, you know what? I don't think slams are for you.
Wow.
Because it is the truth in some way, but then because I think you're more of like a soft poet, right? Yeah. But then I've seen soft poets at slams and I've seen some win. You understand?
That is so true.
So I think it all comes down to the intention. Like you have to define yourself, not the other person. Because when I'm not going to all right, it's true kuti ukataura uchi like just to go on my fans and what, like if you're all over the place, you're bound to get so many marks. And then we've seen that before, right?
We have.
In slams. Yeah. But at the end of the day, is that what you want to achieve? Do you want to achieve the fame, or do you want to touch someone's heart? Do you want to change someone's life?
That is so true.
So I think it's really up to you. I know there are people who want to help us a lot. Help is good. But then sometimes help is also not good. Because you have to allow God. And I feel good God speaks to you. Yes, sometimes God speaks through people. But then that person you have to see, okay, but is this what this person is saying, aligning with what I'm feeling, aligning with also what I'm trying to achieve at the end of the day?
That is so important.
Yeah.
That is so important. By the way, that's a myth, the whole only you need to be loud to win slams.
Exactly.
That's a myth. I think I watched, there's this girl called Anesu, who was third place at Word Culture. Wow. One of the most soft-spoken poets that I've ever met in my life. Like a storyteller. She's calm. She's relaxed. I've seen a lot of people who do that.
That's encouraging.
So
I might think of it.
It's literally because when you're in that space, especially if you're with people who are like actually into the art, they understand there's a difference in style. There's a difference in approach. There's a difference in who we are as artists in general. So you can be the most soft-spoken person around. I remember at the last slam I was, my last performance was a very soft-spoken, chilled kind of performance. But yeah. So by the way, absolute myth. You don't need to be loud to win slams. Kunyepe. Anyway, as obviously as we're trying to wrap up, sadly, we're gonna invite you back because I feel like there's a lot to unpack. Beyond being just artists and Christian artists specifically, and so forth in general. But I think there was a very, very special scripture that I was reading in the morning, and it was and then God made man in his image, which is just like I think like a very big and important reminder that whatever happens, whatever you may go through, whatever people may say, you're still made in his image primarily before anything else.
That's powerful.
As a poet, as a singer, as a dancer, whoever, in his image. So what better way to reflect on your self-worth than by reminding yourself that you're made in the image of the most perfect being in the entire world.
I need to process that. Alessandro.
Yes.
Wow. I'm taking that home.
I'm ready for a booker.
Yeah. And at this point, I can give you the book. Wow.
Yeah. So
I think you need to write it down for me.
Yeah.
I need to be like reading it each and every single time. It feels healing in some type of way.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a lovely
so much
discussion.
for having me.
I think people learned a lot. I personally learned a lot. And obviously, if you're looking for more and more of these conversations where we talk about art and being like Christian creatives in those kinds of spaces, conversations like these where we discuss self-worth, where we discuss your worth as an individual, as an artist, and beyond, please do check out our next episode of the Bring It On podcast. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you want to hear about. We're always happy to hear what you guys think about the podcasts. This has been a blast. I'm Alessandro. This is Loveletter. Thank you so much for joining us.